we need to get to our second hero of the weekend in football, because this man was mocked, he was made fun of, and he gave a lot of bulletin board material and ammo for him to be mocked and made fun of when he was hired as the Detroit Lions head coach. Dan Campbell is a damn icon, is what he is. I love Dan Campbell. I love that he is a guy that, one, nobody wanted to give him that job. Nobody wanted that job, and he was the man to take it, right?
Yeah.
It's the Detroit Lions. And what the Lions have done, not just this year, but it was last year. I mean, it really started last year. He laid foundation for a culture that has staying power. And for everybody that's just like, assemble talent and you'll win. No, you can't. You can't. Culture matters. Culture matters in your workplace. It matters, hell, in your family and kind of the way that you organize and in the way that, division of power is laid out across any place. It matters. And Dan Campbell has done an incredible job just as a leader of men. And he is quirky. He is weird.
Yeah.
He's addicted to caffeine.
Always good for a soundbite.
And chew as well, because that dude had a massive lipper in.
Yeah.
But he is a guy that when he speaks, it matters because his guys know he cares about them.
Yes.
And you look at the way that they play and you look at the roster, like nobody has really discussed how well they built this roster and what they did to build this roster in Detroit. Because after strikeout, drafting high in the draft for decades. I mean, think of it. We're talking decades of dysfunction in Detroit. They trade off their best player and they send him to L.A. and they get Jared Goff in return. And everybody's like, oh, well, here go the Lions again. They're not trying to win. They're in the NFC Championship game. Dan Campbell has led the Detroit Lions to the NFC Championship game. And I just keep going back to his introductory press conference when he said this.
This place has been kicked, it's been battered, it's been bruised, and I can sit up here and give you coach speak all day long. I can give you, hey, we're going to win this many games. I can't, none of that matters, and you guys don't want to hear it anyway. You've had enough of that, so excuse my language. All right? Here's what I do know, is that this team is going to take on the identity of this city, and this city's been down, and it found a way to get up. All right. It's found a way to overcome adversity. All right. And so this team's going to be built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth. All right. And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. All right. And we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. All right. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap. And we're going to get up. And then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing. All right. That's going to be the mentality.
Think of that.
All these shots he's talking about, is he talking about his coffee?
Yeah, maybe. This dude that was his introductory press conference. And everybody's like, what is this maniac talking about?
Who is this wackadoo?
Well, think about this Lions team. Did that not play out yesterday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah.
Where they took Baker Mayfield's best shot, and I get it, and Baker Mayfield does deserve a ton of credit for the way that he has played. Mm-hmm. He played, that dude, wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Wheelbarrow.
Well, and who would have guessed that he would resurrect his career like this?
Baker. Baker, but he may be it. And the way that Baker, starts the game off with an interception that wasn't his fault off Mike Evans' hands, kind of the ball kind of floats up in the air. But you start that game off with a pick and then to rally back and just keep fighting, right? And they miss a field goal in that second quarter. Nope, no problem. He's going to go down. He's going to get a touchdown. We're even Stevens at the break. And when you talk about the physicality that Detroit wants to play with, that Dan Campbell said day one that they were going to play with, they brought the fight to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And in the second half, you got Tampa's best shot, right? Mm-hmm. You got Tampa's best shot. And they didn't back down. They kept getting back up, and they kept fighting, and they kept scratching, and they kept clawing, and they bookend the damn divisional round game in Detroit with an interception on the opening drive and an interception to seal the game. Like, his team, in the way that they fought back, it really was everything that he laid out. That's how they play.
They are the Fighting Dan Campbells.
And it is something that, like, if you believe it, and you show the guys that every single day, that's who you are and what you believe in, people are eventually going to buy in. We saw it at the midway point of last season. They started buying in. Mm-hmm. They were like, no, this maniac is actually real in what he is preaching to us. They go and they win the NFC North. They host 2 playoff games, and now they're in the NFC Championship game. And Ben Johnson is maximizing Jared Goff. Brad Holmes, their general manager, who cut his teeth with Les Snead in the Rams organization, his talent evaluation, he took everything that he learned from Les Snead, and he is applying it full send in Detroit. Because look at what they did in the draft, right? This past year, Jahmyr Gibbs, 1,200 yards.
Yeah.
Jack Campbell, 95 tackles. Sam Laporta, 893 yards receiving. Brian Branch, 74 tackles. Those are 4 draft picks from this year.
Yeah, that they nailed.
They nailed them.
Yeah.
And then you take into account not just like knocking it out of park this draft, but with Aiden Hutchinson. And not just having, how many times have we seen top draft picks go to franchises like Detroit?
Yep.
And then they flame out. Aaron Glenn scheming one-on-one opportunities for Aiden Hutchinson. There were 3 times in that game where Aiden Hutchinson was one-on-one with a right tackle. Worst business decision you can make as an offense.
Yeah.
But that is because you have to, because of scheme and overloading one side, they're sliding their protection the other way because you got to. And Aiden Hutchinson is feasting. Like, whether it's coaching, personnel, and that vision that the knee-biting SOB just laid out for everybody, it has come to fruition. And Jared friggin' Goff deserves a ton of credit. Like, Baker Mayfield played great. Tampa gave the best shot. Mike Evans, 2 pretty bad drops, including the one for the interception and the one late in the game. Those are tough. But it doesn't seem like anybody's talking about the fact Jared Goff in the fourth quarter went 11 for 12 for 131 yards and a touchdown.
Is that good?
Jared Goff did that. Like, he is not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Lamar Jackson. He is a guy that's playing within himself, and you don't have to worry about pulling reins back on him like you do Josh Allen, because one thing that Jared Goff has is an incredible awareness of who he is and what he can do, right? Mm-hmm. Jared Goff played exceptionally in that fourth quarter. And I was really, really impressed with him. There's a lot that kind of goes into that game. Like, you had a fourth quarter where they were tied at 17 apiece, and Goff puts up that performance, right?
Yep.
You're tied at 17 apiece, and you go down that road, like, that is money.